Hello again. This is Monica Pitts, and welcome to Marketing with Purpose. I am recording this from my basement. I'm using air quotes, podcasting studio. And if you hear the herd of cattle walking around in my main level of my house, that's not actually a herd of cattle at all. That is just a 9-year old and a 6-year old. They are really small people, but they make such loud noises when they're walking around upstairs. I'm like, what is going on up there, ladies? So if you hear that, I apologize ahead of time. They're just having a good time up there, I suppose. So today, I'm going to talk about how to choose the right online fundraising event platform. Now, we solve lots of tech problems for people. We started off designing websites, and then as our clients started needing more support, we started helping them find good solutions to run their online events. Now, don't get me wrong, I do not run online events. I only run one, which is Como Gives, which is an online giving campaign that runs through the month of December and supports 140 local nonprofits, and last year earned over $940,000. Yes, it is so amazing, but that is the only online event that I run. What I do is I help people pick a system that will work for them and will work with their other systems and then help them promote their events, right? So that's where I'm coming from. I'm coming from the seat of a consultant who's trying to help people figure out how they're going to run their events. And here's the tricky part about this podcast is that every single person has a different comfort level with technology. They all have a different type of event that they're running, and they're all doing different things in those events. And so it's a pretty one-on-one conversation that you have with people to help them determine what they should be using or give them ideas on what might work based on our past experience. So today I am going to attempt to have a one-sided conversation so that you can hear some of the things that go through my mind when I am trying to help someone find the right platform to run an online fundraising event.
If you're a natural-born marketer, you're one lucky son of a gun. If you're like most people, marketing, especially online marketing, is about as appealing as standing in a police lineup. The May Create team of creatives has transformed websites and digital marketing from craptastic to fantastic since 2005. Our podcast, Marketing with Purpose, makes sense of marketing so you can make purposeful decisions instead of carrying on with the same old crap you've been doing. And now your host, Monica Pitts, founder of May Create, with another episode on how to make your marketing not suck.
So before I start that lovely one-sided rambling, I just want to take a second to remind you that at podcast.maycreate.com, we have a goodie bag just for you with the show notes from this episode and also links to the websites and services that I talk about. So hop on over there and collect that party favor. And also, if you are planning an online fundraising event, you might check out our free resource, 14 Tech Easy Online Fundraising Event Ideas. What we did is we talked to a number of nonprofits who are doing just an amazing job of running online fundraisers right now. And they gave us ideas about what's working for them, and we shared their success stories. So hopefully you can read that and be inspired and wrap your head around one of those events and put that concept to work for you. All right, let's get to business. So my philosophy when choosing a piece of software to do anything for anyone is it's a lot like hiring an employee. You need to start with a job description so that you really understand what you need it to do. And then you need to decide how much you're going to pay it to work for you. And you might even really consider what type of benefits package you're going to put together. So finding a software to run your online event is a lot like that. The first thing that you need to do is sit down and figure out what type of event are you going to run, and then think through how you want to run that event. because there's a lot of very flexible systems that could become very inflexible very quickly if you get into them and didn't know what you wanted to begin with. And the last thing that you want is to have to change just suddenly, quickly at the last minute because you realize that you can't actually do the thing that you wanted to do. So write out your job description. What is your event? What are you going to do during your event? And then also, what are you going to do after the event? What are you going to do with all the information that you may have gathered during that event or during the event signups? You need to make sure that you find a solution that allows you to take all that data with you. But if you can't pull the information out, then you're kind of at a marketing loss because you want to be able to continue that conversation with the people that you met at the event, because events are for more than one thing, right? They're not just for generating donations, they're also for creating relationships. And if you can't get that information back out and use it in any other way, then it's not a very viable solution. So think through, once again, how do you need people to sign up for that event? What's the next step? Are you going to send them an email? Do you need to have an email service in there? Think about how you're going to run the event. Is that part of this solution? What are the things that you want to do during the event? Do you want to do polls? Do you want to break people out into groups? Do you want to just have a speaker? Do you want to take their feedback, allow them to have a chat window, for example? These are all things that we need to define first. And then also, what happens at the end? Do you want to send out a survey at the end or a thank you? Are you gathering more information from them? And then can you get that information out of the system at the end? So map that all through in your timeline and then determine if your event software needs to be able to do all those things. Because if you already have a way to send out your emails and collect your signups and all you need to be able to do is run the event, then you're golden and you don't have to worry about it. But if you don't have any of those things, or maybe you want to have a more streamlined solution, then you'll want to make sure that it includes all the stuff that you need. So that's part of your software job description, right? Thinking through all those pieces. Next, you need to think about how much you're going to pay it, right? So some solutions are totally free, and that's awesome. And then other solutions are not so totally free. Now realize that the totally free ones are going to be totally up to you to operate, right? So think back to that job description. What are you comfortable with? Because if you're not comfortable operating it and understanding the technology of it, then it's not going to be a good fit for you. As a matter of fact, if you're really short on technology and short on staff, but you do have some funding to put towards it, you may very well consider hiring a event service to put on your event for you. A lot of those people know so much about what they're doing and are just very, very good at putting these events on and making it run smoothly for you. I mean, it's like having a wedding planner for your event. It's amazing. I didn't have a wedding planner. For that very reason, I told my husband, I'm like, there is no way I would ever get married again. I'm so glad that I'm keeping you forever because by God, I never want to plan another wedding. And just the other day, one of the May creators was like, hey, Monica, we should have a conference when everything's put back together and we can invite people in and we can do this. And I was like, whoa, wait a second. I will show up and I will totally talk on stage and I will be very happy to host this thing. But there is no way I'm planning a conference. And they were like, we've got you. And I'm like, okay, thank God. Thank God I have people who do this around me, right? Because that is not my forte. And if technology isn't your forte, then having someone help you through this would definitely be a huge asset. And it might mean that you can generate far more donations than you ever would have before and make more contacts than you ever would have before. And that's why I put it underneath price, right? Because if you have to pay somebody $3,000 to help you run your fundraiser, but you're going to generate $30,000 in donations, then that $3,000 really doesn't seem like that big of a deal. For example, one of my clients has a COVID-19 regional relief fund. And about a month or so, they contracted with a company called Armchair Telethon. And that company did a telethon for them, and it was all virtual. And my client paid them for the service. And from that telethon, they generated $32,600. So it was a great investment for them. And they're a super small organization. They only have 1.25 people, and neither one of them are super tech savvy, but they had the ability to reach out to the Armchair Telethon folks and have a whole virtual telethon that was instrumental in them now being able to grant out this money to other local nonprofits that need it because of COVID-19. So a huge success story there, and a great example of how you can look at that job description and then think about how much you're willing to pay to be able to get done what you need to get done. So then last but not least, in hiring this software employee, we need to think about the benefits package. So that really piggybacks on the last idea of how tech savvy are you? One of the things that I look at whenever I'm evaluating a software is, does it come with support? Does it come with updates? How long do I get those updates for? How long do I have access to the information that's stored within it? What types of other softwares does it interface with? Some of them can interface all the way into your donor management system, and then voila, all the information that you need is right where you need it to manage it every single day, and others do not. So all those things are part of that benefits package. They're like the want to have but don't need to have items in some cases, and in other cases, I mean, they might really be a need item. So then they would move up into your job description, right? But definitely check and see what types of support they have, and if it's live support, chat support, phone support. Phone. Who says it like that? Am I from the North? I think I am. Actually, I just visited my family up in North Dakota. And so every so often, like this Northern accent just like plops out of my mouth. And I'm like, who is this? Who's talking? Anyway, okay. So now that we understand that selecting a software to run your online fundraiser is a lot like hiring an employee, you're going to need to make a job description and figure out what the income is going to be, and then put together that benefits package. How do you find it? Like, where do you go to find this thing? So the first place that you could go to find it is just ask for referrals from other people. Go out into your Facebook groups, send an email out to people that you know have done it before, and just ask. That's a way that I find a lot of information. Even in this day of technology, I totally go and ask. And then the next thing that I do is I go out into Google, of course, because really, what is a consultant other than a glorified Googler and figure outer, right? So you know what you need this software to do. So what you need the software to do is going to be part of that search term that you're looking for. You're going to search for top what I need it to do softwares. So for example, top online 5K softwares, top online auction softwares. You're going to look for that. And then I find that the easiest thing to do is to click on one of those articles that's like top 5 softwares for running your online auction. I'm going to click on all those. I click them all open, and then I start reading through them, and I start seeing things that overlap. The ones that overlap are definitely the ones that I want to take a look at because there's a lot of people talking about them. Also, though, a lot of them will have a bulleted list of the services and what they like or don't like about them. And then you don't have to dig through all these websites to try to figure this information out. I find it really overwhelming if I go out to every single one of these websites from the very beginning and try to evaluate them all. Now, when I'm evaluating them for a client, once I get this list together, then I literally make a rubric for myself. It could be in a table or it could just be a bulleted list, but I start off with the service name and then I link out to that service. I have to be able to find it again, and if I spelled the name wrong or something, then I can't ever get there. That does not work. Got to document where it is. And then I write down all of my must-have criteria and my benefits package and the pay. So all the things that you just outlined for this job description, they go in bullet points underneath. And then you just document what you see. You're just searching for those very specific answers. So some of the answers might be just yes or no. Other times you're going to fill in how much it costs. And if you think it meets a criteria, but you're not sure, you're going to document that too. And then if you have to have additional add-ons or upgrades to be able to get what you want, you'll document that as well. And I often like to do a little screenshot of the actual website that I'm looking at because I'm very visual and it helps me remember what I saw later. So let me go over that just really quick again, how I format this document, because that's what makes it easier for me to present it to my client. And for you, you might be presenting it to your board or your executive director. So you're going to go through and you're going to list out each one of the services that you want to evaluate. And then you're going to link the name of that service over to the website. Underneath that, you're going to list out the job description, the income, and the benefits package. All those things that you need from it, you're just going to list them out. Just empty, easy, bulleted list style. And then out to the side of all of those requirements, you're just going to document what you see. So that way when you go into these websites, because they're meant to sell you something, right? You don't get overwhelmed. You're just in there and you're like, okay, here's the deal. Does it have this? Yes, no. And then you know exactly what you need from each one. So from there, I usually narrow it down because there's a couple that just don't have everything that I need. I'm going to look at things like when was it last updated? Is there a help section? I always look at the help section. I want to make sure that there is a super easy way for me to get answers on my own. So I'm going to look and see how often people post, how quickly the company responds, and really do they have an onboarding system for me that I can go through and use to set myself up easily? And I put that underneath each one of them that are in my final lineup because I realize that on my team, I'm not the only person that's going to use this. Oftentimes I'm looking at it because I'm going to hand it over to a client and I certainly don't want to have them look back at me and be like, well, now you need to know how to use this software because I don't know how to use the software. I'm just helping them select the right one, right? And I also have team members that are going to have to use it. And once again, I haven't used the software yet. I'm evaluating it to hire it for this job. I've never used it. And so I need to make sure that they have all the support that they need to be able to set up what needs to be set up and run the event. So I go through and I'll be like, this is an amazing help section. It looks like they do a good job of getting you started and set up. There's lots of help videos here and they have a forum, but not a lot of people are answering questions. And it looks like I keep seeing over and over again that there's this one problem with it. And if that problem isn't a deal breaker for you, that's okay. But really looking through that help section and how they're supporting their clients is an important piece of deciding whether you're going to work with somebody or not. You don't want the people who are just ignoring everyone. Obviously, you can read the reviews and see what people have said about it. It's really tough because some people are only going to leave a review when they're really angry. And so you really have to take those with a grain of salt, but you all know that. And then last but not least, I like to look for a phone number. Do they have a phone number on their website or is it just a chat or an email that I have to submit to them? Because when you are in the middle of launching this event, you don't have time to sit and wait for the chat bot to answer you or for them to respond to an email. And you never want to wait to the last minute. I am not advocating that you wait to the last minute, but there are times where your technology just is not working the way that you thought it was going to work and you need someone. And so understanding if they have a phone number is a big deal and when their office hours are. Because if you can't call them during 8:00 at night and that's when your event is, does not work. They're not a good fit for you. Okay, so I hope by sharing all that, you can now see into my head and you don't think that I'm like some crazy person. But hopefully you can use this system and better evaluate the different event softwares that you might use to power your own fundraising event. just to recap, remember, think of it like you're hiring an employee. What are its job responsibilities going to be? How is it going to help make your life easier? And really map out what you need out of it. And then think about what you're willing to pay it for the work that it's going to do. And remember that sometimes, even though it comes with a bigger price tag, it's going to do a much better job of what you need. And then think about its benefits package. What are the things that you would like to have, but don't have to have? And then go out, do your search, format your search document. You really have to document this stuff. I know I kind of dug in already on it, but if it's not well documented when you go back to it, there's no way you're going to remember it. Evaluate each one of these systems for the job description, the income, and the benefits package, and then dig in a little bit deeper, look at their support forums, look at their library of resources, make sure they have a phone number, and their office hours match up to what you need out of this provider. All right, so that is what I have for you guys today, and that is how I do consulting to help people pick softwares. Okay, so don't forget, this was so much information here that you can go out to podcast.maycreate.com and check out the episode's goodie bag, because remember, Katie prepared a party favor just for you. And she included links to the websites and services that I talked about in the episode. And also, she's going to link you over to a nicely formatted blog post that will allow you to go through this stuff and see it in greater detail. So hop on over to podcast.maycreate.com and collect your party favor. And remember, if you are planning an online fundraiser right now and you're short on tech, time, or creativity, you can download our 14 Tech Easy online fundraising event ideas for free. And we're so proud of it. We made it just for you. And we had so much fun making it because we got to interview many different nonprofits and learn about what they're doing that works and provide these ideas and the success stories. So hopefully you can feel inspired and find an idea that you can put into play for your organization and start earning donations. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, or if you learned a thing or two, subscribe or give a quick review wherever you're listening, because I would love to hear from you. All right, now get out of here. I know you've got stuff to do, and that software is not going to select itself. So go forth and market with purpose.
Thanks again for listening to Marketing with Purpose. Head over to maycreate.com, MAYECREATE.com. Yeah, you heard me right, MAYECreate.com for podcast notes and more resources to grow your business. Don't let your marketing suck. Get your pride on, market with purpose.